All right, 6 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order for the Wells Springs Unified Union School District. And well, first I just wanted to say, something about Clarence. He dedicated a lot of time to school board work, as well as through the VSBA. And personally, I looked up to him. As a mentor, I could call him and ask him anything. So I just kind of wanted to acknowledge that. And I know it's a huge loss for the Middletown Springs community, and I'll definitely miss him. So having said that, we need to elect a new chair. And so now I guess we will take nominations for chair. And anyone could be chair.
I elect Eric.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we both said the same thing. I elect Eric as well.
I wanted to know if Eric was interested in stepping up to the position.
Yes, I would be.
Is anybody else interested?
I'll say yes, I would be.
Okay. So we've got George nominated, myself, Courtney seconded. So are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
I'm gonna nominate myself, and I'm gonna do this in part because Clarence would have made me do it. And I don't mean to rock the boat in any manner whatsoever. So, but I'm gonna nominate myself.
Okay. Is there a second to the nomination?
I'll second. I think both Meredith and Eric are definitely fit for the position, and either of them would do a great job. So I'll definitely second that.
Okay. By Amanda. Okay. Having said that, I guess, is there any other discussion?
Just to be clear, this is filling, Clarence's position until the next reorganizational meeting.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
How do we, I guess, do we all just take a vote? How do we, I guess I don't know what the next step is. And then would Meredith, like if everyone voted for Eric to be chair, would Meredith be vice chair? Or if everyone voted for Meredith to be chair, would Eric stay vice chair? I guess I've just never done this before, so I'm not sure what the steps are in that.
So yes, if I was elected as chair, then we would need another vice chair, and if Meredith was elected as chair, then I would just stay as vice chair.
And I believe if Eric is elected as chair and I was elected as vice chair, we would need another election or nomination for the board secretary.
Clerk. Yep, that is correct. So I would imagine any scenario we would need another clerk. Okay. I guess I'll call the question, and I'll just go by who's on my screen, and you would just vote for that person. So Amanda.
maybe you should, I don't know. I should do that.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand. So are we all starting with Eric, and then if we say Eric, we say I, or are we starting with Meredith?
I think that's what you should do. Yeah, that's what you should do.
Yes. Amanda.
So Eric, you should say all those in favor of Eric, say aye, and then all those in favor of me, Meredith, should say aye. I think that's the only way to count the votes.
Okay, well, I was just going to do a roll call for,
Okay.
so, I mean, either way, yeah, we don't have to complicate this. It's not that hard. So, all those in favor of Eric as chair, say aye. We'll do a roll call. Amanda, you're first on my screen. That's why I'm picking you first.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I'm happy either way, honestly. So, it doesn't.
Okay. You know what? Let's. I'm gonna withdraw my nomination. And let's all. Eric, call it.
Okay. All those.
It's easier that way. It makes sense too.
If that's what you want.
I have no problem with it. I just let's move on.
Okay. I'm okay. All right. So again, all those in favor for Eric as chair, please say aye.
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 Ryan, was that? I would imagine.
Yes, I'm sorry. I said aye. My video's off because the T-ball field's a little crazy. So.
Okay. Thank you. And Amanda.
I also think Meredith is great. If she doesn't want to withdraw, I had this conversation before the meeting. You two were the ones that I thought would be best.
No worries. We're good. Thank you. The most important part is we continue as the cohesive board we've been. So,
Absolutely. I can't agree anymore than
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
yeah.
We've this board has been pretty consistent and pretty much on the same page since I've been on it. So, okay, that was unanimous. So moving on, it is, I guess I am chair. So, now we need to nominate a vice chair.
I'll nominate Meredith.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you, Courtney. And by Courtney. All right. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor for Meredith as vice chair, please say aye.
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 Congratulations, Meredith.
Thanks.
All right. And now for clerk. So Meredith was clerk, and we need to fill that spot. So again, we'll take nominations for clerk.
George.
I second.
Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other nominations, we'll just go ahead and all those in favor for George as clerk, please say aye.
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 George, are you in favor before I say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations, George. Agenda. motion would be in order to approve the agenda.
This is Ryan. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Ryan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Shkana, thank you, George. Any changes? Additions, deletions, corrections?
Eric, the only thing I would add is at the very end that June 8th, the carousel meeting at 5:30. We'll just have to add that at the end of the meeting.
Okay, we can add that.
Yep.
All right. All those in favor of approving the agenda? Say aye.
As amended, aye.
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 Any opposed? No. General public. Oh, motion passes. So we have some, anyone from the public wish to speak? All right. Consent agenda. I did not see any minutes in the materials.
I didn't either.
All right, let me check. I have a copy here, my hard copy, but let me double check.
Okay. Well, we can come back while you're checking that. Approval of the warrants.
I'll move to approve the warrants.
Thank you, Amanda. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Ryan.
So, again, if you had any questions, reach out to Lewis. I typically still go in and review them as often as I can. So if there's no questions or anything, all those in favor of approving the warrants?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Superintendent's report. Everyone get the superintendent's report that was sent out today?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. So sorry about getting out so late. It was I think with the GRCSU, and I also wanted to wait until the memos came out from Dan French, which had some information regarding the end of the year as well as the start. So I wanted to include that in my report as well for you. Most of the information here is, end of the year stuff that you've heard before. We just submitted the education recovery plan last evening, phase 2, part of that. So we're waiting to hear back from the states. Once we get feedback from that, we will then consolidate that and then bring it out to the board and to stakeholders for review and for feedback at that particular time. Rick and Liz will talk a little bit more about summer programs. I know that in the GRCSU board meeting, we kind of laid out some of the academic and enrichment offerings that we have for our kids. But I'll let to talk about a little bit more about that, like I said, during their principal reports. With regard to vaccine, just a more refresher that all students age 12 and older now are eligible to receive the Pfizer vaccine. There has been some discussion about when students who are 11 and younger will receive, based upon the information we received. They're looking at sometime in early fall. I know that people have been asking if they would be available for the students prior to start of school. As of right now, that's still to be determined. I think, the vaccines are in clinical trials, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. But the goal would be ideally to have those vaccines in place or be readily available before the start of the school or right around the start of the school year. So as I get more information, we will keep you updated on that as well. as I prefaced at the beginning of this, last Friday, Dan French sent out some memos regarding the end of the year recommendations for our schools. And I know that if you look at the Rutland Herald or WCAX or the Vermont Digger, you'll see that on a daily basis they have the almost like a countdown to get to 80%. I think we're like 78.4 or at this particular point. But once we get to 80% of population vaccinated, Governor Scott has said that he is going to rescind his state of emergency, as well as shift us into that July 4th plan, which is at that time no mandates, no restrictions, kind of be where we're at. And the question that's been asked is, what does that mean for schools, particularly if we are still in session? We do expect, based upon the current projections, that sometime, whether it be early next week, midweek, sometime during the week, that Governor Scott will rescind this state of emergency and kind of leave us without guidance. And I say that because once that state of emergency is over, the Vermont AOE, as well as the Department of Health, no longer can provide guidance to us. We go back to our normal statutes and regulations for operating. Dan French, Secretary French, and Dr. Levine have both recommended and in the memo strongly urged schools for the remainder of the year to maintain our current guidance. And I know that may not be popular with a lot of individuals, but this strongly encouraged, this strong recommendation comes under a couple of caveats. Here's why. If you look at the 12-year-olds, the 12 to 15-year-olds who were able to receive vaccines on May 12th, as of right now, they will not be fully vaccinated by the end of the school year. So we look at really students, 15 years and younger, will not be fully vaccinated. So that's obviously a large percentage of our student population will not be fully vaccinated. We also look at the difficulty of the last week we could have a school pivoting and quickly making adjustments or changes to what our plans may look like and our schedules. And so they're just recommend that we stay with our the current mask and the distancing. And part of that's because of the fact that it's gotten us to this point. We've been successful. We've had very few cases recently because of the amount of staff that have been vaccinated. Look at the community members, but they just they want to kind of keep things in place as opposed to being a bit of a free for all. So my recommendation is for now until the end of the school year, till the 15th, that we will keep our current guidance in place. In a separate memo, they did start to outline or lay out what next fall will look like. And I have been talking about this for a while now, but it was kind of confirmed as of today. But right now we'll be implementing full in-person instruction in the fall. Remote option will not be available, at least with our GRCSU. Most schools will not be offering that. In fact, we've been encouraged not to offer remote. If there is a remote option, it will be through homeschool or through like a VT VLC or a flexible pathway program, which will be done through like an EST, team, recommendation or something along those lines. But we anticipate, like I said, being back full in person. So the model that we use for the majority of this year in a lot of our classrooms, which is that hybrid, will not be in place. We'll be back to normal there. There are no plans for any physical distancing requirements for students and staff in the fall. And as of right now, we have there are no plans for masks, but obviously that can change. I think that's one area where we're kind of waiting to see what's going to take place particularly with the younger age group. But as of right now, it looks like we'll be back to normal come fall. So which will make things easier than last summer for planning for both administrators and staff. Hopefully that our teachers can relax this summer, not have that stress that they had last summer in terms of what the year will look like. They can a much needed break. So that is our goal. The last point about next year that has been asked a lot is about snow days or inclement weather days. What do we do? Well, we still have the option available for remote days, and the answer to that is no. So we will be required to make up snow days as we have in the past. And this is partly because of the attendance requirements that the attendants are that students must be in school for a certain percentage of the day, half the day. So with the snow days, like I said, if we close the school because of inclement weather, we will expect to make that up at the very end. All right. And that's really the majority of information I have for tonight's superintendent's reports, outside of it, things that I have given in the past. So are there any questions about end of the year or next fall that you may have?
Chris, this is Ryan. I just have a question about the summer programs. If we get like the green light from Governor Scott, do you think that during the school summer programs there might be opportunities for those mask restrictions to ease up over the summer, or do you think it'll just be in the fall we start that?
Well, that's a good question, Ryan, and I think hopefully we'll get a little more clarity tomorrow or by Friday with some more guidance around summer programs. I know that if we look at what the guidance is for rec programs, the rec programs are back to normal, and rec programs can use their school. I would anticipate that our summer programs would reflect what our school year is going to look like in the fall. But don't hold me to that. Except anything can change with the AOE. But I just considering with the governor looking to rescind the state of emergency with any day now, I think really once the school year ends, we're going to really start to pivot and start to think about moving forward and what next year may look like. It wouldn't surprise me to see also if the state maybe just did a more of a local control in terms of it's up to each school or district or SU to make those decisions. But if that's the case, then we will discuss and we'll get that information out to our families. But considering where we're at with the current guidance and where we're looking to go in the fall, I would anticipate our summer programs would mirror what our fall would look like.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Are there any other questions for the superintendent? I have a question about the education recovery plan.
Yes.
Why you're waiting to share it once it's been approved? Why is that?
There are different phases, Eric, that we go through for approval. And so we're in phase 2, which you approve this, and then we bring it back, for feedback and for approval. So it's just part of the process that we have to go through.
Okay. And it could be modified?
Yeah. It's no different than our CIP. Our CIPs can be amended at any time based upon feedback. We look at our recovery plan, and it's, like I said, I want to thank the teachers and administrators that have worked on this, but it's purely speculative. And I say that because we'll get a lot of data back over the summer and in the fall, and we may find that what we felt was a strong plan right now. As we look in August or September, we might need to make some changes. So we will be allowed to amend and make those changes as we go through, just as we would on a SIP. But there is a process for that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Principals. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Mr. Beal let me know it was my turn. So good evening, everybody. You guys have my report in the packet. I did want to highlight, Mr. Sell mentioned our summer program. We are very thankful. Our enrollment is growing every day. We've got several staff members who work with us all school year who will be running our summer program. They've got some great activities planned for the academic portion and are working on some thematic-based activities for the afternoon. We're getting a lot of fantastic questions from parents about what we're offering, so we're able to give them some more information. We have some of our food service folks are working in a different capacity with our students too, so that's really exciting that we're able to share students with them in a different way than just as what they do regularly with us. And our enrollment is open all the way up until the last day of school and in between. So folks are still trying to make plans, just make sure that they're contacting us and we'll get them registration packets. And I wanted to know, it's in my board packet, but I just wanted to thank Eric and Mr. Beal for bringing velocity to our school and for getting the boys out to Arbor Trek last week. I heard they had a fantastic time, and I think it's just really powerful. Our Girls on the Run is actually doing their 5K this weekend as well. So some really great opportunities for the kids as they carry on and continue on with the rest of the school year. this afternoon, I spent some time, as Mr. Sill just spoke about the CIPs, reviewing ours from last year, making some changes with our leadership team, and expanding on some of our goals that we had, especially looking at the recovery plan and how we can use our CIP to dovetail into the recovery plan for progress and well. So we're wrapping up the year, but we're also changing our focus a little bit to start thinking about some of the things that we would like to do differently in the fall as far as our what we want for the kids in Wells and the instruction and the opportunities that I should be looking for teachers as we go through the summer. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Liz, and I'll ask Rick at the same time. I had offered a while ago to assist at graduation in regards to masks and distancing, and I plan on being there. So if you need me, I will be available. Just let me know what's required, okay?
Thank you. That's very great. I appreciate you bringing up graduation as well. Yeah, we've would absolutely love to have you.
What time would you expect me there then? A little before 6, I would hope.
5:30 if you'd like to come.
Okay.
That'd be helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And 6:15 for us. That'd be great. But I'm hoping and I expect that it's gonna be fine. But it's nice to have that extra person. So
Glad to help.
much appreciated.
Well, we usually also have board members present at graduation.
Yep. I believe, well, Amanda's daughter is graduating, right, Amanda?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that tonight at the meeting. I didn't know what the process was for board members for 6th grade, but I will absolutely be at graduation because my daughter's graduating. But there's something differently that we should be doing as a board. I was going to ask what that was.
Yep. Typically, like Meredith said, board members, a board member would be there to congratulate the graduating. So I guess if someone wants to step up and be there at Middletown, I guess now would be the time to say something. I would imagine.
I could be at Middletown.
Okay.
That'd be great.
That's the 15th, is that right?
15th.
Yeah.
6:30.
Okay.
I have a question / comment. I'm assuming that, and I know we have plenty of time, but I just thought it'd be better to get it out, the thoughts rolling before we get too far into the summer. I'm assuming that we're going to need a new athletic director next year, considering Kelly is now out of state and her daughter's graduating. So I wasn't sure if we need to start looking for one, recruiting for one. Wasn't sure how that process is going to work.
I'm happy to have a conversation with Kelly. I haven't done so yet about that position, but I can report back to the board in July if that's agreeable. If that doesn't feel too late, Courtney, too. I don't. No.
No, I mean, I think that's plenty of time. I don't know what everybody's comfort level is as far as having somebody so far away do that position. I kind of feel like somebody needs to be local. There's a lot of stuff. Just, I don't know.
Yeah, no, great point. I'll connect with her and I'll be able to report back for July.
And I might have missed it before. I thought Wells and Middletown graduation was on 2 different nights. Did I misunderstand that? They're both on the same night?
No,
We are June 15th.
You're the 15th. I'm sorry. I thought Rick said he was the 15th as well.
14th.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I
Rick?
guess can I have one more question? I'm sorry. Since Courtney kind of brought up people, I didn't know if we had thought it all about next year at Wells. Do we need another person in there? Or are we still doing like 5th and 6th together? I know there's less kiddos to combine. I didn't know if that was something that we needed to be talking about either.
Are you talking about the cohorts that will exist in Wells next year?
Yes.
It'll be the exact same as this year. So a 5th and 6th, a 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, kindergarten, and the pre-K.
Okay.
All right. No more questions for Liz. You're on, Rick.
All right, thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. And once again, my board report is in your packet. A few things I want to share. I just want to highlight again the wonderful day that we had with the Velocity program. And Eric, appreciate your help and making it a great program for the boys. We were only one of 4 schools in the state, or 2 out of 4 schools in the state that were doing Velocity this year. And I can't say enough good things about it and what it's done for the boys, and especially using the program for these really great discussions. And it's a very timely program. It's kind of interesting, both Girls on the Run and Velocity are run by Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They definitely have different feels to it. And just to try to balance things out a little bit, I am offering a couple of the activities that the girls were really very much interested in participating in: outside cooking and archery. So next week, after Girls on the Run is done, be using 2 days to give the girls an opportunity to try those too. So some really good excitement. Just want to update that we're finishing up the program with Up for Learning. Once again, the 2 of the 6th graders have been in and actually have been running in collaboration with the lady from Up for Learning to run the program, the lessons with the 4th and 5th graders, half-hour sessions twice a week, and working on those skills of listening, collaboration, what it means, and tying in our current school expectations. So I look forward to continuing it next year, and the work that the 4th and 5th graders have been doing to be leaders in the school. And it's a really exciting program for the kids. And it really ties in the whole recovery plan, aware grant, social emotional, building capacity of the students and feeling like they belong and having voice. So as I tell people, it's really hard to separate academics from social emotional and belonging, and it really wellness. It all really ties together. Like Wells, we're working on our continuous improvement plan. Staff meeting today, we looked at it. We'll be continuing the same plan, but certainly using the resources that we have from the WARE grant program, connecting those in. And it's still very much timely of looking at math and then the whole social emotional support for the students and families. So, we have a great field trip tomorrow to Vince, which I'll be driving the bus. So very excited for the kids to be doing that. Great way to finish up the end of the school year. And just summer program, like Liz, we have a tremendous turnout, a lot of excitement, even though the program is actually almost twice as long as what it's been in the past. A lot of great excitement, kids signing up. Our pre-K program is pretty much every pre-K student. And so I think it's just, it's going to put us in a good position to start the new school year. So any questions?
I just have a comment, about the velocity thing. It's a fantastic program. It was really good to actually do it at Wells this year in full, and And Liz, I just want to say thank you for all your help and work and getting that information to the families and students. So
Absolutely. Anytime.
Okay. Oh, can I just say one quick thing too? This is Ryan.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody involved in Velocity, because my son had a phenomenal time, and especially this last one at Smuggler's Knot. She's still talking about it. So thank you, and thank you for driving the bus. It's peace of mind knowing that you're behind the wheel too. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I guess my last comment, I just want to say that it was a pleasure to attend the Greater Rutland County Board, School Board. I mean, I it's been a long time since I've attended a school board meeting for the GRCU, and just the positive vibe. So kudos to everyone that's participating in that. And, it shows the progress of coming together as a SU.
Good meeting. Are there any year-end celebrations for graduating sixth graders this year?
So we're doing a floating trip, a one-day floating trip, and then we're going to do like a beach day the next day. Obviously in the past we've done trips to Washington and overnights, but we're not doing it this year. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we have field day planned at this point.
All right. All right. Any other questions for the principals? I also, like, really quick, I feel bad. I guess apparently we missed National Principals, School Principals Day.
Didn't know there was one. So
yeah, I didn't either until it popped up on Facebook. So
I do believe it was on a Saturday, Eric. So I think I had to send an email over the weekend about that. But
well, I'm sure the only reason why it probably popped up on my social media is because of all the teacher appreciation stuff. But anyway, thank you both for your hard work.
Absolutely.
So,
Eric, before you move on, I'm not sure if it made it to you, but I just wanted to recognize that the staff wanted to share and appreciate you all for thinking of them during Teacher Appreciation Week. And I did send the thank you card to Christine McGinnis. I'll make sure that you all get a copy of it if you haven't already. But so they just wanted you to know that they appreciated your gesture as well.
yeah, I seen it in here somewhere.
Okay, good.
Or maybe it was in the superintendent's. Nope. Well, I know it's in there, but thank you. All right, consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
This is Ryan. I'll make a motion.
A motion by Ryan. Was that a second, George?
Yes, I'll second that.
All right, thank you. All right. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Finance. Oh, actually, I might have just screwed that up. Well, you know what? I guess for the minutes, we can just approve those next month. Chris?
Eric, I sent it. Everyone should have received that. I put it in the chat that about 5-10 minutes ago. I sent the email out to everybody.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, we can push up to next month. That way people have time to look through it if they want.
yeah, that'd be good. And as long as they get posted for the public to read, I guess, that would be fine. Okay, finance. So in your materials, you got a tax anticipation note, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might, Chris, but this is basically, if you're not aware, where the SU will borrow money until tax revenue comes in to make sure the bills are paid. and this is done every year. So we would need a motion to approve this tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
Motion.
second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Any questions? Meredith, you're muted. I don't know if you're.
No, I'm good. I was just looking at the wrong, I was looking at Ira's, wondering why it was only 72,000.
Okay, if there's no questions, all those in favor of approving the tax anticipation note, say aye
Aye.
or wave.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Monthly financials. If you have any questions, email Lewis, I guess. Or if you had any questions tonight, we can get them on the phone.
I mean, I don't know if anyone else has an answer to this, but in looking at the expenditure report, I see several instances where group health insurance was not budgeted for. There's 0 in that column. So when we bought group health insurance for different individuals, we come up being in the red. Does anybody know why that is? And that's something we could ask Lewis next time, but.
What page are you seeing that on?
It's on page 4, page 5, and page
Also page
6.
5.
Yeah.
Georgia, I could be wrong. My memory's not always the greatest, but I think that I asked this before, and Lewis had said it was because you don't know what people are going to pick, if they're going to do single or family or single and just their spouse or their kids. So they wait until they know what the individual chooses, because the amount will be different based on that. If someone might remember different, but I thought that's what Lewis explained before.
Okay. And again, I'm just questioning it. I doubt we're in trouble, but it just seems kind of odd that we apparently didn't budget anything at all. But
I know from the nurses line, that's because our old nurse did not have health insurance. Her husband had his own health insurance. So it might have just been a timing thing where we didn't put anything in there because we didn't know, like Amanda said, what the new nurse or if the new nurse would even require health insurance. I'm trying to find the one on page 4. I don't.
It's under technology, group health insurance.
Do we have a new technology person?
Did our technology person have a child or get married?
Or a change? I mean, they could have just had a change in personal circumstances.
And I could be totally wrong, but I had the same question before when I was looking at this last time. And I'm pretty sure that the way Lewis explained it was just that because we don't know who they're putting on the plan, we leave it 0 until we know.
Okay, that makes some sense. And again, next time Lewis does attend, maybe he can just reiterate that or explain it.
George, I can get him on right now if you want. I would send him a quick text if that's easiest. So.
Okay. Yeah, and he may come back just with a quick answer, but thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be good to know. I'm curious
But
too. I do see on page 5 under group health insurance, that's if I'm reading that right. No, preschool.
No, page 5 is the one all the way on the bottom. It says nurse wages. Health services is the section.
Yep. Oh, okay, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, but page 5 also shows it under Wells Preschool too. There's a 0 in the budget column for group health insurance.
And we have a new or a change in preschool, don't we? How many years has Mrs. Warland been gone?
2.
Hmm.
I did move someone from a GRCSU contract to a local contract. I'm not sure what you're looking at, but I would assume that that's probably part of it.
All right. I think this is Lewis that just joined us. Lewis, is that you?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, Lewis, we can hear you.
Okay. Is there a question?
Yeah. So George has a question on this.
Yeah, Lewis, how are you? I was just looking at the expenditure report that was sent out, and on several of the pages, we have 0 budget for group health insurance for technology, preschool, health services, and library services, mostly for Wells Village School. And I was just curious as to why it appears that way.
So there's 0 budget, but there's an actual expenditure.
Yes.
So I mean, our budget is based upon the contracted staff and their benefit at the time that we set the budget. So if something changes between when we set the budget, which would have been early last year, so it could have been a staffing change or an insurance plan change. So that would be one of the main reasons why there would be an actual but no budget. As though you mentioned technology, there is no staffing in technology, so there couldn't be any health insurance and it's library media. Is that what you're looking at?
It was on page 4 of the expenditure report
Okay.
for
I
technology.
can definitely look at the specifics and send the board an email with all the details. Either later tonight or early tomorrow morning after I've had a chance to look at each one of those lines.
Yeah, if it is related to staffing changes, then that I'm satisfied that that's the cause for this. I just hadn't noticed something like that before, so
Okay.
I appreciate you getting back to us.
So last month, I mean, the reports you're looking at this month are just the system generated reports. And then last month, I would have provided a year-end forecast, which would have an anticipated year-end. I think we looked at $143,000 surplus at the time. And so on those, you would see like what I'm anticipating as for each one of those lines, what the year-end balance is going to be.
Okay.
But I can definitely look into it more specifically and send the board an email tomorrow with the details.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lewis.
You're welcome.
That's the only item I had on the financials.
Okay. Have you already done the tax anticipation, or I can go through that?
Yeah, we already did that.
Okay, great.
Okay. Contracts. You should have received. think wasn't there an updated contract this afternoon?
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. Okay. Are there any questions about this?
I have a question. The revised one, this is Ryan, I'm sorry. The revised one that was sent, it looked like the proposed salary for John Carlson was taken off of the second one. I just glanced at it quick, so I wasn't sure what the change was going to be.
So
Did we go ahead and move forward with offering him that position?
there's a discussion about a step placement for this individual. And so we have not, at the time when this was printed out, we had not been able to kind of resolve that issue. So we're trying to, decide which step to place this individual on. So we don't want to just put a step on there and not have it approved. So that's
Gotcha.
something which we
Okay.
can, let you know as soon as we figure that out.
Okay, thanks.
I see it just says 1-year position. Is that the do you only need him for 1 year?
I do believe that's a long-term sub, correct, Rick?
So the position is, filling a long-term sub position. So that's how we had to advertise the position. So.
Okay. It says teacher 1-year position.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So long-term subs are for 1
He's
year.
replacing somebody who's on a 1-year leave of absence.
Right.
I see.
So therefore, it's only a 1-year position.
Okay.
Is this the teacher we had already? Or is this another teacher?
This is the long-term sub that we had for maternity leave.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, it was just confusing. But I figured it would say long-term sub on there as well. But I had a question about the Middletown Springs Student Council Advisor. Is that Is that something new, or is that something we've always done? I just don't remember seeing that.
That's a stipend position as part of the extracurricular that we worked on. I realized I didn't do a stipend form, a contract for, but yeah, it's a stipend position.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to move to approve these contract recommendations.
I'll second.
Is this for both professional staff and extracurricular? Meredith?
Yes. Yes. As presented.
And who seconded that?
Courtney?
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Hearing none, motion passes. Board retreat. So we kind of tabled this till this month. And since we have everybody here, I guess we can try and finalize the retreat. I still think we should have a retreat. And I'd like to know if everyone could still make that date.
Can you remind me of the date? I'm sorry.
July 21st.
This is Ryan. I'm actually not going to be able to commit to a weekday during July, so I don't want any of the plans to get messed up because of just me. I just won't be able to. I'm going to have to work each weekday, so unless I'm out at 4, so if it's something I could join you folks at 4 o'clock or later, then I would love to do that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, were
some-
we thinking this is going to be an evening event? Or?
I
That's-
wasn't really sure what the time was. I just saw a date, so I was hoping it was an evening event, but I wasn't too sure on that.
Yeah, that's where I was going to get at too. You know, a time as well. We could do, you know, late afternoon. I know some retreats, you know, they'll start early in the morning and go until the afternoon, and I guess that's something that we can decide now and start planning it. So what are other people's thoughts on a time?
Yeah, I can't do during the day.
Okay.
Evening is best for me as well. I work until 5. And I didn't know if like potluck or something was an option. We could all bring something and there and do our thing, but I could get there as early as 5:30.
Okay. Well,
That doesn't mean people can't start without me and I'm late either. I don't want to be the
Yeah.
only person that's 30. I'm just sharing what I could do during the week.
well, we never actually talked about, you know, what we're going to accomplish during this as well. I know we talked about possibly going over test scores. You know, typically we spend this time, you know, setting goals. In the past, honestly, I've only done one retreat, and you know, we ended up having a facilitator come in. Meredith, you were there, and you know, it took a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, having a facilitator is definitely makes the whole retreat much more productive. I feel like we've had a couple, and sometimes they end with a more, so we do some work for a few hours and then share a meal or something like that.
Mhm. I think the
I
time.
don't,
Thing that we all like, was it like a potluck thing or did we all pitch in on like pizzas or something, or how did we do that before?
It was
it's been
catered.
done. Yeah, we've also had potlucks. Yeah, we've done it both ways, I guess. I think because the members are participating in the work of the retreat, that it doesn't always make a whole lot of sense to have us bring potluck, or it's just not as convenient, I guess.
Okay.
Where do we do this?
Where? That's another good question. Last time we did it was the MWA. My thought would be initially one of the schools, possibly, but again, I don't know if that's going to be possible. To me, it would make sense, but if we're talking about committing maybe anywhere from 3 to 4 hours for the retreat, maybe more. Doing it during the week may not be a possibility if everyone has to work. So we may have to consider moving it to a weekend, possibly.
What's the earliest that the other people that work could get there? It's possible that I could go in early and ask to leave at 4 or something if somebody could get there earlier, I'm happy to try to do that. I don't want to be the only person that can't come until late. What's the earliest that everyone else could go?
I think for
I'm
me,
probably looking at, oh, sorry, go ahead, Courtney.
I think for me, it would probably be 4:30 is the earliest for me.
That'd be the same for me as well.
Okay. Anybody else? Is time an issue?
Meredith, you've probably been to more than a lot of us have been to for these retreats. Are they consistently that long? 4 hours?
Yeah, one we had at Clarence's house actually, and his daughter Cara is a mediator, and she actually ran the meeting for us, and it was all of 2 plus 2. I think we probably ran into 3 hours, and then we had a potluck there. And some people stayed, and some people brought their families. It always is something that it feels like an obligation, and you're really glad you did it afterwards, because a lot of good work comes from it, and also socialization that happens is really important. So,
I agree.
Chris, do you know if we were allowed in the schools? Do we know if the schools could be an option in July?
As of next week, sure. I mean, I say that because I think once they rescind the emergency order, things will open up, and I think that's part of where the next item on the agenda as well about the board meetings is, about in person or hybrid. So we will have an opportunity to meet in person this summer. So without restrictions.
Okay. So July 21st at 4:30. That seems like it works for everybody. Some head nodding.
Yes, I'm happy to make that work.
Yes.
I'll just go in and
That's
it's
good.
fine.
And also, I'm sorry. I know our last retreat, Rick was there, and the principals obviously are invited. I would imagine it would be beneficial for them to come. You guys, that time works for you as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And could we have it at Middletown Elementary?
Just going to ask.
Well,
Where?
hopefully we'll be outside if the weather's nice, but if
Definitely.
it's not, we can jump inside in the multi-purpose room, I would think.
That works.
Does that work for everybody?
That works for me. Nice and close.
And are we going to work with the mediator?
Yes, I think it would be good to have someone come in and help facilitate something for board work. I'm not sure, it's been a few years almost, and maybe going through and reevaluating goals might be something that we should look at. But who would that be? Would be the next question. I mean, could reach out to the VSBA, but
Well, we've had Kathy Latender, who lives in town here, in the past, and as I said, Clarence's daughter Cara, who actually lives in town still. That's just 2 off the top of my head. I'm not sure who they used. I don't think whoever they used at the Grixu one might not have been. At any rate, there was someone else for that too.
Okay.
Is that Chris? Chris, do you have anybody that you would consider?
I mean, there are a couple of people that come to mind, but I think if you know people that you feel comfortable with, I think we're fine with that as well. So, I mean, I know I've been talking with Dave Walk about doing some work with us and a variety of things, and he might be interested in helping us out with the board retreat.
Meredith, do you know Clarence's daughter?
Kara, yeah, enough. I mean, I could reach out to her. As I say it, I don't know if it's too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was my thought. I mean, I would have absolutely no problem with her doing it. I don't know if she would take it as an honor and be happy to help in, in his remembrance, or if she might feel like it's too much. But if you feel like she would feel honored, I would be in favor of giving her the opportunity given the circumstances.
Yeah, I felt the same way about that too. I don't know about her availability. I could reach out and see. And I could also check in with Kathy. Kathy did our workshop when we were merging, and that was a really tremendous job. That was many hours. It was rather complex. I don't know if anybody, maybe Courtney, were you there? No, that would be it. Okay, so any rate, but David Walk would be great too. I mean, so maybe we'll just figure that out in the next. I'll approach Kara and see what she says. We'll start there and then go down the list.
All right. Yeah, personally, I am content with what your recommendations sound good. So if we can get someone to come in, that'd be great. Do you remember who came in? I'd have to go back and look, but I can't remember her name. But she came to the retreat that we had back in 2018.
The one at West Rutland?
No, it was at the MWA here in Wells.
I can't remember if that was Kathy or not.
That was Kathy.
Okay.
It was Kathy? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kathy did that one, and then she also did one in West Rutland too. She has a good way of keeping the board moving and editing the information into usable chunks. But that's what they all do. So,
Okay.
Kara was the same way. So. We're also, for what it's worth, looking for a new board member for Middletown.
Yep. That's coming up next. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So at least we have July 21st at 4:30, and so that time works for everybody. Hopefully, it would work for whoever we can get to come and help facilitate it. And that's all I can think of right now. I guess just put it on your calendar and we'll plan on it. Anyone?
The only other stuff that if we're getting catered, should we look at that now that things are opening up? Do we think a lot of people will be booked up now that people are starting to get together? So if we are catering, is that something we should look at sooner rather than later so that we have something available?
Is Sissy still doing food, Meredith?
Yeah, Sissy is, and I think last time we had Julie from the Well store, probably Lisa, and I'm not sure who else set it up, but yeah, since we're in Middletown, we also have Corey Moon. She does catering in Middletown, so that's another one. Corey Bess, sorry.
I mean, I can certainly bring anything over if we do anything from Julie. I'm not sure how that works, but
Julie is very supportive of our school, so I like to support her too. Not that Sissy isn't, but I mean, I really feel Julie has gone out of her way over the years. So
yeah, I agree.
Who got that? Who lined that up last time?
I think it was
that?
Lisa Madison with whoever was the chair. Which I don't know if it was Sue Burke or who it was.
I was thinking Sue. I think Sue helped Lisa, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I thought so too. It doesn't matter. I could talk to Julie too.
I'm happy to help if anybody needs anything.
Yeah. So I'll talk to Julie and we're gonna need numbers at some point too.
Yeah, it should be, well,
We should
Can I
also
ask, this is Ryan, can our kids come if we're in a bind, if it's at one of the schools? Is that, I heard before someone say families were present.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering about numbers.
Just in the event, usually in the summertime, my husband's not around much working for the power company, so I'm in case my need to tag along.
absolutely. I don't see a problem with it.
Great.
Does anybody else? I would imagine that the kids are always welcome in the schools. Okay, so
might be a silly question, sorry, but we should also know if anyone has any allergies before Meredith puts something together, so we don't have something someone can't have.
Well, we can have something we can't have. It's just we won't make it so it's risking. She's an experienced caterer. We'll just choose some things that are safe. And unless somebody has something in particular they really want, I'm pretty sure Clarence picked something specific last time. But I don't know if anybody's thinking about food.
I guess, all right, Meredith, if you're gonna reach out, I guess, for numbers, I guess if it can feed maybe 10 to 14 people would be a guess.
Well, there's 8, 9 of us,
Yeah.
and then people, I don't know, family members or spouses.
I can't forget about Chris.
Well,
He's coming too.
I would say like 15 to 20.
yeah.
15 to 20.
Yeah,
I think we did send a lot of
okay.
yeah, we sent a lot of leftovers home with people last time.
Yeah, we did. I remember that.
Yeah, there's a lot of packing up. So 20-ish.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Is there any more discussion about this? Anything else we need to hammer out now?
This is Ryan. I'm just going to let you guys know I'm going to be losing you here in a few minutes. We're headed back through Middletown. Our service is going to go, so I'll try to hop on as soon as I get home.
All right. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll move on to new business board meeting, return to in-person and hybrid. This was brought up at the SU meeting last week, and I don't know, I guess when it comes to the SU level, you've got people that would normally we meet in West Rutland, a lot of people coming together. So for us, I guess I figured I'd bring it up and at some point, when the state of emergency is rescinded, we can still meet in this hybrid format. And I guess I think it would be good to figure out now what people want to do. Do we want to return to in-person meeting altogether, or continue doing a in-person with a remote option? And I'll go first. I do like the in-person part of the board meetings, but I will say that this is very, very convenient. Especially when it comes to like committee stuff. However, going back pre-pandemic, there was always that option of calling in, and it was just having a speakerphone. The issue is it wasn't easily accessible to the public. At the SU, they're talking about having full-on streaming and audio equipment, and that's a whole nother discussion in order to make a good quality for those who are online. But what does everyone else think?
I would be in favor of a hybrid model. I think that it's really helped to get public to, maybe not so many of our meetings, but it's given the public the opportunity to be able to come in. And Ryan's a great example tonight. She had her kids at ball and she was still able to attend, and she's coming back when her service gets back. And I think to have the involvement that we all really strive for, I think it's important for people to have that opportunity. And even if they were in person late or something, I like the hybrid model idea. I don't know, that's how I feel.
I second that. Everything that I said.
At the board meeting, they discussed, actually, the plan is to look into costing essentially a suitcase full of equipment that would be potentially available to all of the local boards too, because that's essentially the problem. Is we need to have we can't all sit in front of laptops in person and have this experience. It will be a lot more challenging. So we need like PEG TV microphones and a camera. And quite honestly, we need somebody to operate the camera, but we can also just position it in a way that works. I think it's really important to keep the remote option open.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think we should pursue the hybrid model. If they have equipment for us, a camera, there are microphones that could be, a couple of them put out on the tables so people could hear us. Camera, they could see us, and if we had a laptop with a projector, we could see anybody else on Zoom on a screen. So we wouldn't all need a laptop.
Okay.
So Eric, I guess the question would be about timing. Would we want to start that in July or August? Or I think ordering the equipment and then just working through the kinks. Because I know that when we were doing this in the springtime, say at Rutland Town, we were trying to do an in-person and a live stream hybrid, there are a lot of issues and a lot of problems and a lot of frustration. So I just want to make sure we have enough time to kind of work out those kinks, so it doesn't prevent someone from being able to attend or hear one of our meetings as well. So just so if we want to look at maybe August as a realistic date where we do have some time between now and then to do some demos, maybe even like a committee meeting or something along those lines where, it's not as high stake as say as a board meeting, but just something to consider.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that keeps popping up in the back of my head is, the temporary suspension of open meeting laws, and it didn't really convey this really well at the SU meeting, but basically, we have to have a physical location once those open meeting laws go back, unless they permanently change them, which I don't think they're going to. So at least, moving forward, we actually have to, on our agenda, we actually have to have a physical location, even if one person went there, and then everyone else was remote. I guess that's still, as far as the board goes, that would be fine. So, no matter what, one person at least has to go to the physical location that we're providing, essentially a place for the public to speak. All this seems weird. Maybe it'll change, but if it doesn't and it goes back to the way it was supposed to go, or it previously was, I can imagine we're going to have those issues that Rutland Town did in their meetings. And I know what you're talking about. I seen some of those board meetings. You can hardly hear people at all, and so you're talking about quite a bit of equipment. From what Greg was saying, are we going to just? Isn't he coming up with a list of stuff? I think if we want to, I guess that wouldn't be a bad idea, just to wait until our August meeting. We can still continue to do the remote again, unless it changes in the open meeting law again. But to see what they come up with, because I would imagine the same equipment needed for an SU board meeting would be the same for any local board.
This might be
I was under the impression that that equipment from Grixu would be available to the local boards. Like it's going to be in a suitcase ready to go. This isn't just for the supervisory union board meetings. Is that, at least that was what I was understanding during the meeting.
Yeah, so Meredith, I think what Greg was going to do was do a cost proposal and look at if the cost purchase one kit as opposed to say 4 kits, and it makes more sense for us to purchase like 2 kits. One to be housed up north, one to be housed for the southern schools, and it could just move along those lines. I think that's where the board just have to decide, how much they want to spend on this. I do
Right.
The one kit. I worry about the wear and tear, but like I said, if I'm traveling to all these meetings, or Greg, I could just bring my kit along with me and set up. So, but that was what I think when he and I had spoke after the board meeting. I think that's the proposals that he was working on for the next GRCSU board meeting.
Yeah. He briefly said something about $20,000 worth of equipment. Hopefully he comes out with something that's a little bit more cost effective than that. And he's also looking into Peg TV, their capabilities of streaming, because they have all the equipment. So I guess we'll just wait and see what he brings at the next XU level or that SU meeting, and go from there.
This might, I might be wrong, correct if I am, but we've been remote all year, with our kids, and all of the kids have been able to chime in, and there's been one teacher with one computer. Is there a reason as a board we can't have one laptop hooked up to a projector in front of, say, the chair, and kind of see everybody else? And then if somebody wants to be seen individually, we kind of do that. I mean, it's worked for teaching our kids. Would it work for our meetings?
So, I think the concern is also about recording the meetings and how to do that on 2 formats. If we're recording, say, on the laptop, which would take care of a Google Meet, like a classroom setting, but also then the physical meeting itself. So I think that's where, I know when Greg had spoken, he was looking at similar setups to that, yes, but I think trying to capture both experiences. And his concern now goes back to the Rutland Town experience, which, we tried this out. It was a bit of a mess. And he just wants to make sure, I think that's where the $20,000, he was looking on the high end, like for a professional. That's what like PEG TV, basically, for PEG TV, like production, but we can do it much more cost effective. So, but I think you're also looking at facilities and which, screens and drop down stuff like that. So there are just, there's a lot to consider, but it's similar to that, Amanda, but I think the recording was the biggest issue for him. Just capturing the whole meeting and the sound.
Okay. Yeah, I misunderstood. I guess I just assumed because we're able to record us here at all of our different houses, we could have one at the meeting set up and still allow other people to come in and record everybody together the way we have been doing this way.
You could do that as long as you didn't have more than one person at the physical location. If you have more than one person at the physical location now, that it gets, it gets more complicated, and the sound gets worse, and capturing what's going on in that physical meeting isn't as good with just the one laptop or one computer camera.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Well, it sounds like the hybrid's working for everyone, and I would imagine that if we have to sometime go back to having a physical location, it might be. You remember? I don't know. We'll just have to play it by ear, I guess. We could all attend or do a hybrid still. It's I'm trying to think in my head how it would work out, but I think we might have time to figure it out ahead of time. So, all right. Nobody else has anything else to add. We'll move on to policy.
Are we tentatively looking at August then? And if we are, where would the physical location be? I don't remember where we are in the rotation. It's been so long between Wells and Middletown.
Our last physical location was Wells, so it would probably be Middletown. So, but yeah, we can plan on. We'll plan on seeing what happens at the SU as far as the equipment goes, and continue to just do the remote. So, and I think that works out pretty well. It's pretty convenient. So, all right, policy. So last month we reviewed F4 educational records. This is the second reading. It's here to be adopted tonight. So a motion would be in order. Well, I'll go ahead and move this myself. Is there a second? Oh, George.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion on this? Did anyone have any questions? This basically this policy didn't change. The policy committee went through and reviewed it, and it's just one of those policies that just gets reviewed and renewed. So if there's no questions, all those in favor of adopting F4 educational records, please say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand.
Aye.
Amanda?
I'm sorry, I said aye.
Okay, I'm sorry, just making sure. Okay, motion passes. I believe we do have an executive session tonight for a legal issue. Before we do, let's go ahead and future meeting dates, July 7th.
And June 8th, Eric, the
And
carousel meeting.
Yeah, yep. All right. Is there any other lawful business? The only thing I just want to add really quick too, before I forget, again, is SU representation. Really quickly, does anybody else want to fill in at the SU? Clarence was one of us who attended. So I think it's important we have 3 people.
I'm happy to attend as long as they're hybrid. Unfortunately, if the SU goes full in person, I will not be able to get to West Rutland in time. But I'm happy to attend if needed while we can still do this mod.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. So I would imagine, from what people were talking about at the SU, everyone's in favor of a hybrid model as well for those meetings. So it might be the same thing where everyone's doing some sort of form of hybrid meetings. That might be the new normal. Okay, so Amanda, you want to step up and do that?
Does anybody else want to? I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I'm happy to if nobody else.
Just refresh my memory. When are their meetings?
The 3rd Wednesday of the month. Third or fourth? Yeah, third Wednesday of the month.
It would be great to be able to ask any board member just to even fill in on any night that one of us can't be there, because we hold some power in our little district here, and it would be nice to maintain our votes in there.
Yep. Anyone can attend. I mean, even if.
Yeah, my only issue is the fire association meets on the same night. So
George, I believe it's the 4th Wednesday of every month. Look at my calendar. Yeah.
Okay, that would be different then.
The 4th.
Yeah.
In July, we're looking at the 28th.
That's
July
wild.
28th.
Oh yeah, it is. Sorry, that's my bad.
So 4th Wednesday. Okay. All right, so I can be a backup then. And they start at 6 as well, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Oh yeah, and what I was saying is, anyone can attend. We have 3 voting, members, but if you still wanted to attend an SU meeting, you still can. So it's not like, which, I would encourage anyone if they wanted to see what's going on, to do so. If you want. Some of them are, just business, and that's it. So, all right. Sounds good.
Eric, I think we also have to, what do we do about another Middletown board member? Do we have to go over that before we leave tonight?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. That is important. So we do need to see about finding someone. It would be from Middletown as a board member. So if you know anybody,
I've written a post for Front Porch Forum that I was going to publish, and
So,
I know a letter could come to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
no, I was gonna say, could you just share that post with me? Because we'll have Christine send that out and then put that in, the places where, that we have to post to. So, because it all should come to me, and then I'll bring the candidates to the board.
Okay,
after,
so should you be the person to reply to rather than me, because it's only going to go to Middletown?
Meredith, does not matter to me. If you want to, if it's easier for you to reply, I'm not going to be upset about it. I know Rutland Town, they just had it where we posted it, and then they just, all came to me, and then all I did was then just bring the candidates back to the board for review. So it's more of a procedural issue, and
That's
so
fine.
it might be, but if it's easier for you, like if people even just come and say, in person, like I said, you're in the communities, you're there, so it might be easier to just have people go to you. So I'm fine with that, Meredith. I won't,
Can we?
Well, what I'll do is just put it to reply to you, and I will, but people may reply to me because I'm posting it. So,
sure.
Yeah. So is this post, this is from you, right? It's not from the board. This would be from
well,
you.
yeah, but I am listed as a board member on Front Porch Forum. What I wrote is Wellsprings School Board member. Wellsprings Unified Unit District is looking for a person to fill a vacancy on the board who lives in Middletown Springs. If you are interested in education and students in our community, please email Christopher Sell at grixu.org.
Yep. I think it should definitely at least go back to Chris, and with like a letter of interest, so that way he can,
Yep, with a letter of interest. I'll just add that right on the end.
Yeah.
And this would be for the remainder of Clarence's term?
Yeah. Yep.
No, I think it's actually just the year. Well, wait a minute.
It would be for the rest of this person would have to rerun again next year.
Yeah, it's just the rest of the year.
Next town meeting, okay.
Yep.
But I do believe they would run it for the remainder of the term, correct? Next March?
That's right. Yep.
Right. Okay.
Rick, did you have anyone in mind?
I can ask around some of the parents, so, but off the top of my head, I don't. So
Sending it out to the parents somehow would be really helpful. I don't know what you have.
well, I can add it to my weekly principals little note in the newsletter, so I can do that.
Okay.
Okay. So
That would be great. That was actually my question was, did anyone from Middletown know anyone to kind of nominate, or did you know any parents that might be interested?
Well, I've been asking around, but those who do a lot, and their plates are pretty full. So we'll see.
Meredith, would you email that your post to Rick or myself? Because we'll just do that same language.
Okay.
Just for consistency, if that's okay. Great, thank you.
You and Rick, okay, and I'll and you, Rick, and Eric. I'll just send it to Eric.
Yep.
okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, that'd be great if we can have some, if we get more than one letter of interest, have them come to our next board meeting. And there is a time limit before we have to get the select board involved. So, all right, sounds great. Thank you, Meredith. That being one step ahead. All right, so
I mean, that's interesting, Eric. You mentioned that we do have to work with the select board, but we make the choice. They just went through this in Mill River. There was a little bit of animosity between the select board and whatever town it was and the school board, but it was made clear that the decision will be ours to fill the position, but we should consult the select board.
yeah, basically we have 30 days, and the select board will have to be involved. But if we find someone or someone has a letter of interest before then we can just fill it. So obviously the process is it's just written in statute. So it, from what I understand, we'll be reaching out to the select board so that they're aware. But again, and I know this has been done over the last couple of years where we've been able to fill the seat before having to do that. So that's why I mentioned that. If we can do that at the next meeting, I think we'll be all right. So.
Does that countdown start from tonight's meeting?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure. But I can find out.
Do you know?
I think the statute says that within 30 days of the creation of the vacancy. So if we were creating the vacancy, say tonight, it would be 30 days from this point.
So the vacancy wouldn't be based on date of death?
Well, that could potentially be that case as well. Yes, it just says 30 days of the creation of the vacancy. So yeah, that could potentially be working backwards from that on that timeline. Sure.
That's where I'm confused. From what I understand, it's hard to say. It's not. It's. But sorry, I was reading that. I suppose either way, we'll have to contact the select board, and at least they'll be aware. Our next meeting, we will hopefully have someone that we can, or who has letters of interest. So, but okay. So, does anyone else have anything they want to add?
If I attend the next select board meeting, can I mention it to them, or should that come from you, Eric?
I think it would come from myself or the superintendent.
Where would we get the answer on when the 30 days starts? Because honestly, we're almost pushing the 30 days if it is a different date other than tonight.
I suppose the VSBA might have an answer for that, would be my thought. I'm kind of going off of some of the past vacancies we've had. Maybe it's a bad idea. However, we had a vacant spot that George filled. And so wasn't quite the same situation. That previous member had just resigned. So But, again, I don't have the
It could be
answers.
it could be the League of Cities and Towns. What to get that answer from?
I can try to look into it as well. I'll have some time tomorrow morning. I can try to look into it and shoot everybody an email if I find an answer.
Okay.
Well, we still need candidates, that's for sure.
Yes. If we can get, one person that's interested, I think that'd be fantastic. But I don't think it's a big deal having to follow what's written in statute. It's just a matter of just contacting them, the select board, to say that there's a vacancy. And essentially, I think if it's not filled within 30 days, they help fill it, is what it comes down to. But okay.
But who will notify the Middletown Springs Select Board? The only reason I'm asking is I have occasion to go before them on other matters, and I don't want them coming back and telling me, why didn't you let us know? If I'm sitting there in front of them.
Okay. I will probably go ahead and reach out to them, if that's all right with everyone else.
Terry
Redfield.
is the chair. And I can send you his email if you'd like.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Yep. And I think that'd be appropriate, and then we can at least start that dialogue with them so that they're aware of it if they aren't aware of it. All right. So executive session. We do have an executive session for a legal issue, so we'll need a motion for to move into executive session. And I think
I'll make that motion.
I don't believe the principals need to stay for this if they don't want to. So if you guys, I don't know, Chris,
Yeah, I mean, I think they're fine.
they're fine first.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think maybe at the carousel meeting if we move into executive session at that point, might be good to have them there just when the attorney's present as well.
Okay.
So
Sounds good. Is there a second?
I'll second. It's Amanda.
Moving to executive session at 7:48. Thank you. Okay, so we're out of executive session at 8:22, and so let's go ahead and Amanda, let's go ahead and
Yeah, I was just
go over your.
Yeah, I was just looking to get something put on the agenda for next meeting, and I'm not really super interested in like 2020, 2021 scores. I know that those were not good COVID years. I'm interested in 2017, 2018, 2019, moving into 2020 to look at our classes since we started combining them at Wells.
okay, so we don't have scores from last year because we didn't take the SBAC, so we won't have anything. And this year's scores aren't there, so we can go back to 2017, 2018, and I could have Lisa come and discuss that as well if you want, but just that year's. But I think 27, 18, and 18, 19, but we have nothing from last year, so and this year as of yet, so we can have 2 years worth of data.
Yeah, that's perfect, and I'm fine with no COVID info.
So Amanda, what specifically are you looking for so I can provide, because as we compile that data, because we would have to go to executive session because of the size of our cohorts.
No, that's okay. And if I hope it's okay that I say this publicly, but I'm concerned about all of the kiddos that were not in a combined class and then moved to a combined class just from things that I've seen in my own household. And I'm just curious if all of the kids were on the same pattern and if it was kind of a, widespread, and if we should be looking at how we are teaching in our combined classes and what those scores are showing from when the kids were in, say, third grade, and then when they were combined 4, 5, 6, not just, our school or Middletown. I'm just kind of curious about the whole combining and how successful we are with that.
Okay. So that's basically what you're looking for is that, how effective is that combined classes? I will say that if you're going to look at tests, if we're going to look at test scores specifically, from one grade to the next, you might be disappointed. When you look at the data, there's, depending on how you look at it, you can interpret it in different ways, is what I'm saying. So, I know to some extent, they try and look for growth, and it's not all just score dependent. But again, if this is something that you want to have for next meeting,
if we can, that'd be great. And I know that this test scores are just a snapshot. I know every kiddo is not a good tester. Believe me, I get that. I'm just curious if we're seeing a decline in these kids from before they were combined to when they were combined, or if they're staying on the same path, or if there is any growth.
Okay. Is that something that we can have for next month, Chris?
I mean, I could take a look to see what we can compile. I mean, the data is there, so just be working with Lisa and our new data person we just hired. So maybe you can start compiling some stuff. I don't know, Amanda, if you're going to get a clean answer to what you're looking for, but I think we could, try to just, provide the data, and we could just, look to see where it's from. And so just, yeah, I think that's an interesting discussion, but I think we can also, maybe look at other data points as well that we want to compile, or just what, if that's what we're taking a look at. But we'll work with the SBAC and bring that for you for the next meeting. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. And I would love, Wells and Middletown together, if we can do that, not just, I'm interested in both.
Oh yeah. It makes sense. Okay. All right, we'll put that on the agenda for next month, if that sounds good to everyone. Okay. I guess Lewis wrote back, George, to your finance question. Did you see that email?
Yes. I read through it, and it makes sense.
All right. All right, sounds good. I think we've pretty much covered everything tonight. Next meeting, July 7th. If there is nothing else, a motion would be in order to adjourn.
Now, this is tough because usually someone was selected to.
I was just going to say, let's do it Clarence's way. Courtney chooses to adjourn.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. But yeah, I'm not Clarence, so obviously. He usually did that when we were going to an executive session and the recorder wasn't hanging around. So this is all being recorded. So.
All right, I'll make a motion. We adjourn.
Thank you, George. There's a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Courtney. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Hopefully everyone can make it. Thanks everyone tonight. It was a pretty good meeting. We covered a lot of stuff. And everyone have a good night.